Stick with UK politics now, but a slightly different tack, because Nigel Farage is in a little bit of difficulty this morning. 12 Reform UK councillors have indicated that they're going to resign over his leadership. This is after Elon Musk, what was it, about a week ago? Less than that, said that he didn't think Nigel Farage was fit to be leader anymore. Also, Nigel Farage was telling my colleague at ITV News, Harry Horton, last night that he thinks Shamima Begum should possibly be allowed to return to the UK. That sparked another war of words with Elon Musk. And Kemi Badenoch making hay out of that this morning. So, as Nigel Farage is heading up one of his regional conferences, Reform UK conferences this morning, he's got lots to consider. Ben Quinn is a senior reporter for The Guardian, and he had that exclusive yesterday on these 12 Reform UK councillors resigning. Morning to you, Ben.
Morning, Paul.
Thanks for joining me. So let's talk about the councillors first. What's going on here? Why have they resigned yet, and why are they thinking about doing so?
Well, these are Reform councillors in Derbyshire in one area, but it's very much a target area for Reform. Actually, what Reform UK would call the ringleader of that group of councillors came second in the general election in a constituency there, Alex Stevenson, in the event. Could have been a lot more, but in the event it's actually 10 Reform UK councillors this morning, and they've resigned in protest at Nigel Farage's leadership. Essentially, they're also particularly critical of the of other senior people in Reform, particularly Zia Youssef, who's overseeing the quote unquote professionalisation of Reform and the rollout of branches around the country. So the main reason for the criticism is what they see as the autocratic manner in which the party, as they would see it, continues to be run. And obviously this comes as well on the back of other schisms in Reform UK around their position on Tommy Robinson. So we can come in a minute to what Reform UK say about these councillors, but that's where we're at the moment.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you, is this over the Tommy Robinson issue, which is partly what the Elon Musk's frustration was with Nigel Farage? Are the two aligned here? Is Elon Musk and these 10 councillors essentially making the same argument about Nigel Farage's leadership?
There is an overlap. I wonder if Elon Musk is aware that Reform UK have got internal disputes over their constitution and the way the party is run. I suspect not. In this case, these councillors have resigned because they feel that Nigel Farage has too much control over the party. They are unhappy about a new constitution which the party adopted at its annual conference last year, which they and others feel that basically still means that Nigel Farage has a stranglehold over the party. Where Tommy Robinson comes into it is that there is a degree of sympathy for Tommy Robinson, who's in jail for contempt. He's a far-right agitator with a criminal record, but there are people in Reform UK, particularly in the grassroots, who've got sympathy for him. And in the case of some of these councillors, at least one was disciplined, it seems, for sharing a video on the past of Tommy Robinson.
Right.
That's where Robinson comes into it. They've resigned essentially over the question of internal party democracy. It's a wrangle over the future control and the direction of Reform UK. That's bubbled up just in the same way as previous parties such as UKIP, where Nigel Farage was involved, also had these birth pains.
Yeah, and it's tricky when you've got strong characters. Although, we should also note that some very established parties have similar headaches. I mean, the Conservative Party isn't a very happy place at the moment. Labour's had its own resignations, even since it won a landslide in the election. So it's not rare for there to be dissent within political parties. I just want to ask you quickly as well about Shamima Begum, because that's another issue on Nigel Farage's plate this morning. He told my colleague at ITV News, Harry Horton, yesterday that he was sort of rethinking whether or not Shamima Begum should be allowed to come back to the UK. He's now rowed back on his comments, saying, "I've never wanted to allow Shamima Begum back, as I literally say in this interview with ITV." That has allowed, though, Kemi Badenoch to kind of wade in, Robert Jenrick to wade in and say, look at what Nigel Farage is saying, we'd never allow Shamima Begum in. Elon Musk is not particularly happy about it either. Is this another mess, do you think, for Nigel Farage?
Difficult to see how it plays out. There was a an advisor, Boris Johnson, you'll remember some time ago, who came up with the concept of throwing a dead cat on the table to distract everybody's attention from something else. It could be one of those, but at the same time, it certainly sparked discontent among some of the reform grassroots. Some of the people behind some of these councillors or with them who've resigned are also saying that this Begum issue is one that they're not happy about. But at the same time, it's a case of Nigel Farage putting himself front and center, making the weather, running the narrative essentially on this as well. But it's given Badenoch and others a sort of an attack point as well.
Ben, thank you for that this morning. Are you at the conference this week?